It was just a normal Tuesday, until I saw the message that ripped my life apart. My name is Daniel. I'm 34 years old, a new father, and until a few months ago, I thought I was living a perfectly ordinary life. My wife, Melissa, and I had been married for 6 years. We met in college, survived a long-distance relationship, and eventually built what I thought was a solid foundation. We just had our first child, Liam, a beautiful, chubby-cheeked baby boy who was the center of our world. Or so I believed. Josh had been my best friend since secondary school. We played on the same football team, went to the same university, and even lived together during our early 20s. He was the kind of friend who always had my back, until he didn't. That Tuesday evening, I came home early from work. I'd gotten off a bit earlier than usual and decided to surprise Melissa with her favorite takeout. I walked in quietly, hoping to hear the familiar sound of her humming a lullaby to Liam. Instead, I found silence, and her phone buzzing constantly on the dining table. I would never normally check her phone. We trusted each other, or at least, I thought we did. But something felt off. Lately, Melissa had been distant. She spent more time texting, smiling at her screen when she thought I wasn't looking. And for the past few weeks, she and Josh had been messaging more than usual, claiming it was about work stuff since they were both in digital marketing. The name on the screen made my heart skip. Josh. The preview of the message said, "Can't wait to hold our little man again." I stared at it. Our little man. That could only mean Liam. My hand, almost acting on its own, picked up the phone. I unlocked it. Yes, I knew the passcode. And what I saw broke something deep inside me. Dozens of messages. Flirty emojis. Nicknames like Babe, J, and M. Pictures. One of Josh holding Liam in our living room. Another of Melissa in a mirror selfie, puckering her lips. The caption reading, "Miss you already." My legs felt like jelly. I sat down slowly, trying to breathe. My heart was racing. It felt like someone had stuck a knife in my chest and twisted it, over and over. Was this a joke? A prank? But it wasn't. This was real. The front door opened. Melissa stepped in, humming softly, carrying Liam in her arms. She didn't know. Not yet. I quickly placed the phone back on the table and forced a smile. I took Liam from her, holding him tightly, tighter than usual. I didn't say anything that night. I couldn't. I needed time to think, to feel, to decide what came next. But one thing was clear. Everything I thought I knew had just shattered. She didn't even flinch when I asked her. That's when I knew it wasn't just texting. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table staring at my coffee, untouched. Melissa moved around the house like everything was normal, humming softly as she cleaned Liam's bottles. But nothing was normal anymore. Not after what I saw last night. I waited until Liam was down for his morning nap. My hands were cold. My throat felt dry. But I had to know. I had to hear it from her lips. "Melissa," I said, my voice low but steady. "How long have you and Josh been talking like that?" She froze. Not like someone caught in a lie. More like someone who'd been expecting this moment. She turned slowly to face me. "So, you looked through my phone?" "I didn't plan to," I said. "But the message, the one where he said he couldn't wait to hold our little man, I couldn't ignore that." She sat down across from me. Her expression was unreadable, calm, almost distant. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she said. "I never meant for things to go that far." "So you admit it?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "At first, it was just casual texting. We were talking about work stuff. Then, it turned into venting. Then flirting. I don't know. It felt good to be seen." "Seen?" I echoed. "You're my wife. I see you every day. You see the mom version of me. The tired, messy, worn-out version. But Josh saw the old me, the fun me. He reminded me of who I used to be." I clenched my jaw. Her words were cutting me deeper than I expected. "Did you ever stop to think how that would make me feel? You two laughed behind my back. You shared pictures. You let him hold our son like he was." "I didn't sleep with him, Daniel," she interrupted, her eyes pleading. "I didn't say you did," I snapped. "But you gave him pieces of yourself that were supposed to be mine. That's betrayal." She wiped her eyes, but I didn't feel sorry for her. "Not now." "I was lonely," she whispered. "So was I said. "But I didn't run into the arms of your best friend." There was silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. "I don't know how to fix this," she said. "Maybe you can't," I replied. I stood, my chair scraping against the tile. I needed to leave. I needed air. I needed space. "Don't follow me," I said as I walked out the door. I walked for hours, through familiar streets that now felt foreign. My mind kept going back to the text messages, the pictures, the smile she gave him, the same smile I used to live for. This wasn't just about Melissa and Josh anymore. It was about what I'd lost. Trust, love, safety, all gone in a single message. There's betrayal, and then there's heartbreak that rewrites everything you believed about your life. 2 days had passed since I confronted Melissa. I hadn't gone home. I'd been staying at my brother's place, sleeping on his couch, trying to make sense of what my life had turned into. He didn't ask many questions, just handed me a beer and sat with me in silence. That was what I needed. Space, time, quiet. But my mind didn't stop racing. I kept replaying everything. Our wedding, Liam's birth, the first night we brought him home. I remembered Josh showing up with balloons, grinning like an excited uncle. He held Liam like he was something fragile and precious. And now, I couldn't shake the question that kept clawing its way to the surface. Was Liam really mine? The thought made me sick. I didn't want to believe it. But the way Josh called him our little man, the way Melissa never corrected it in the texts, the timeline of when everything started, it all lined up a little too well. I needed answers. That evening, I texted Melissa. We need to talk. Alone. Tonight. She responded immediately. Okay, come home. The house felt different when I stepped in, like the walls knew what had happened. Melissa sat at the edge of the couch, nervous. Her eyes looked tired, like she hadn't slept in days. Liam was asleep in his crib. I have one question, I said, standing in front of her. And I need the truth. No games, no filters. She nodded. Is Liam mine? Tears sprang into her eyes instantly. She covered her mouth like I had just slapped her. Daniel. She choked. Please don't do this. Answer me. She looked away. Her silence was louder than anything she could have said. Melissa, I repeated, more forcefully this time, is Liam mine? Her shoulders trembled. Then she whispered, I don't know. The world spun. I'm sorry, she cried. It was only one time. Just once. During that night, you went to Abuja for the conference. I was drunk. I was angry. And Josh was there. I couldn't breathe. So it did happen, I said, voice cracking. You slept with him. She nodded slowly. I thought it was just a mistake. Until I found out I was pregnant. And I prayed. God, I prayed Liam was yours. But I never did a test. I didn't want to know. I sat down, numb. Every part of me felt like it was breaking at once. My son, my beautiful boy, might not even be mine. I love him like he's mine, I said, more to myself than her. No matter what, he's my son. She reached out, but I stood up again. I'm going to get a paternity test. We need to know the truth. Melissa didn't argue. As I left the house again, one thought echoed through my mind. I could handle betrayal, but losing Liam? That would destroy me. There's nothing more terrifying than waiting to know if the person you love most belongs to you or to someone else. The days between the test and the results felt like a lifetime. Every hour stretched longer than the last. I went through the motions at work, barely present. My phone became a ticking bomb in my pocket, each vibration making my heart lurch. I didn't speak to Melissa. We kept our distance. I didn't trust myself to even look at her without exploding. I'd taken the paternity test at a private clinic. Quiet, discreet. I brought Liam myself. He smiled up at me during the swab like everything was perfectly fine, like he didn't know the world was cracking beneath my feet. I wanted to believe he was mine. I studied his features constantly, his eyes, his mouth, his laugh. People always said he looked like me. But now, every similarity felt like a cruel guessing game. Was I seeing what I wanted to see? The morning the clinic called, I was alone in my car. I'd driven to a quiet parking lot just so I could take the call without anyone around. My hands trembled as I answered. Hello, Mr. Daniels. Your results are ready. Would you like me to go over them with you? Yes, I croaked. There was a pause as the woman on the other end pulled up the file. According to the DNA test, she said slowly, there is a 99.99% probability that Liam is not biologically related to you. The world stopped. I didn't even know how to respond. I sat in silence, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I'm sorry, she added softly. Would you like us to send a copy of the report to your email? I hung up. I stared out the windshield, not seeing anything. Cars passed. Birds flew overhead. Life moved on, but mine didn't. In one sentence, everything I thought I knew about my life, my family, My role as a father vanished. Liam wasn't mine. I wanted to scream, cry, break something. But instead, I just sat there, quiet, empty. Later that night, I went back to the house. Melissa opened the door and froze when she saw me. She must have known what my face meant. "It's Josh's," I said. No anger, no yelling, just cold, brutal truth. She covered her mouth and collapsed to her knees, sobbing. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I thought." "I don't want to hear it," I said. "I gave you everything. Loyalty, love, a home. And you let him take the one thing I loved most." She looked up at me, red-eyed and desperate. "But you love Liam. You're still his father. He knows no one else." I looked at her, broken but certain. "I'll always love him," I said. "But I don't know if I can stay here. Not with you. Not after this." She cried harder. I walked into the room, kissed Liam's forehead, and whispered, "No matter what happens, you'll always be my son." But deep inside, I knew. Some goodbyes don't come with closure. They come with a shattered heart. Sometimes, walking away doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you finally love yourself enough to stop bleeding. The next week was the hardest of my life. Melissa begged me to stay. She promised therapy, counseling, change. She said we could heal, rebuild, find our way back. But some damage runs too deep. Some wounds don't heal with apologies. I wasn't just betrayed, I'd been robbed. Robbed of time, trust, fatherhood, and the truth. I still cared for Liam. That was never in question. I changed his diapers, fed him, held him through sleepless nights. Every smile, every babble, every tiny hand gripping my finger, those moments were real. No DNA test could erase them. But I couldn't raise another man's child while sleeping beside the woman who gave him to me in secret. So I made the decision no man ever wants to make. I left. I filed for divorce quietly, without the drama. Melissa cried when she signed the papers. But I didn't. My tears had dried up days before. We arranged visitation. I asked to still be in Liam's life. She agreed, maybe out of guilt, or maybe because she knew. Despite everything, I loved that boy more than I hated what she did. Now, every other weekend, I see him. I take him to the park, teach him to kick a football, sing him silly songs while he giggles in my arms. He calls me daddy. He doesn't know anything different. Maybe one day he'll ask questions. Maybe one day I'll tell him the truth, not to shame anyone, but to teach him that love isn't always about blood. It's about showing up when it's hard, about holding on, even when everything inside you wants to let go, about knowing when to fight and when to walk away. I don't talk to Josh anymore. The last time I saw him was in court, when the truth came out in legal black and white. He couldn't look me in the eye. That told me everything. As for Melissa, I don't know what her future holds. I hope she heals, for Liam's sake. I don't hate her anymore. I just don't recognize the woman I once married. And me? I'm healing. Slowly. One breath at a time. I'm not bitter. I'm wiser. Stronger. More careful with who I trust. More protective of my peace. I've learned that sometimes the person you'd take a bullet for is the one holding the gun. But you don't have to live bleeding forever. You can get up. You can walk away. You can survive. And if you're going through something similar, if you've been betrayed, lied to, broken, please know this. You are not alone. Your pain is real, and you will get through this. If this story moved you, helped you, or opened your eyes, hit that subscribe button. We share more real-life cheating and divorce stories every day because healing starts with truth. Broken Heart, subscribe now and don't miss the next one. Broken Heart.